Welcome to the Wild Grace podcast, where authenticity isn't a choice, it is your calling. Real, raw, untamed. This is your initiation into the wild. Hello, and welcome to the Wild Grace podcast. I'm your host, Mallika Foord, and today we'll be talking about empowerment. And the reason why we're talking about empowerment is because so many of us, including myself, give away our power on a regular basis. Whether it be an intimate relationship, a friendship, a family member, somewhere in our lives, we are giving away our power. And here's how we do it and why we do it. So I've noticed that in my intimate relating, sometimes I will cater so much to their needs that I'm actually abandoning myself. I'm tolerating their energy or whatever it is, and I will play small so they can feel comfortable. And I had a beautiful reflection from a coach recently who said to me, you are abandoning yourself. You don't have your back. And then you're feeling resentment around it because, they're not living according to your values. I'm not speaking my needs in a certain moment, and then I'm building a resentment because obviously they don't know what I need. I'm playing small, I'm making them feel comfortable, and I'm building resentment as well. So that's one way we can give away our power. The other way is like making people responsible for your entire life and blaming them for when shit goes wrong. And that is another way we can give away our power. And that's, a lot of the dynamics that we have in a codependent relationship, especially when there is like a power dynamic with the breadwinner and then maybe the stay-at-home mom, but it can play out in many, many ways. And then you have in your family, you can give away your power to make your family members feel better. It's almost going into so much empathy and compassion that you lose yourself in that. Maybe they're not feeling good, or maybe you've got a parent who's just very depressed all the time. And so rather than try to lift them up, you will come down to their level because you want to make sure that they feel comfortable. We've got to stop doing this. We've actually got to stop doing this because it's possible to actually raise them up to our vibration. If you're operating from a really high vibration and you're stable in that vibration and you're strong in that vibration and you feel good and you're in heart center and you're balanced and you're in alignment, guess what? They will meet you in that frequency because your frequency and your channel will be so strong that they cannot stay where they are. They'll either go away, you will literally repel them, or they will raise to your vibration. And I had a beautiful reflection from my acupuncturist who was saying that that's exactly what he does. He works so in alignment with his dharma and his life purpose that he doesn't come down to match people's frequencies when they come in all higgledy-piggledy. He stays in his center. He stays in alignment in his high frequency, and his patients actually meet him there. And he reminded me of that. He said, why are you shrinking for people around you to make them feel comfortable? And then I had another beautiful reflection from a dear friend who practices Kundalini activation. She calls me at 9:45 p.m. She said, girl, get on the phone. I've got a transmission for you. And so I get on the phone. She gives me the full transmission and she says, wake up, start living your purpose, start living your power. And this is quite confronting for me because in a way I feel like every day I am living in purpose. So to have that reflection from someone who I love and adore and appreciate and respect and just love the shit out of, I was like, okay, I respect your opinion and I will definitely do some self-inquiry around that. And I was like, okay, so where am I not being or walking with empowerment? And I discussed this with my acupuncturist, and he said it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Now, I've just recently jumped in on a 28-day cleanse of all substances, including cacao, no stimulants, none of what I would call fun things. And I've just noticed like the absence of them, the absence of coffee in the morning, the absence of nicotine. And like even today, like I miss my vape. And then when I didn't vape, I ended up crying. And so I've obviously been using all these substances to suppress something rather than feel it. I just take something. And so many of us do this. Like, who else resonates? Who else has that extra coffee, that extra cigarette, a vape? Like people who vape all the time. Like it's almost like a comfort for them. I notice that when I have my vape, it's constantly in my hand and I'm like, where's my vape? Where's my vape? And it's really interesting to notice, like, I know people that even sleep with their vape in their hand. So when they wake up, they can have it straight away. Like it's highly addictive, but also it's like this comforting thing that they have, right? It's suppressing their emotions. And so when we remove all the noise, no substances, no anything, we actually get to feel like what our base level is and where we actually are in our energy and how we have evolved since the last time we had a little break of all of the things. What I've noticed is like, yeah, I've been using substances as a way to rebel. My little teenager is rebelling against maturing, I guess, or growing up or like stepping into my responsibility, which is my true calling, my authentic self, my dharma, which is to, spread my wisdom through podcasting and writing a book, sharing my perspective of life, which may be unique to others, and also holding a vision for something that's really grand in the near future. And with that comes a lot of responsibility because as more people listen, they take on what I say, and I'm literally altering people's lives with what I talk about. And so while I love that I'm changing people's lives for the better, I'm giving you permission to live your best life, to manifest whatever you want in life, there's a certain level of responsibility that comes with that even I am rebelling against. And so as I become aware of my little teenager rebelling by wanting all the substances and the coffee and the stuff like that, I'm like, you little shit. You little shit. Because I was a little shit as a teenager. Who else was a little shit as a teenager? There's a chance that you may be an adult living as a teenager still because there's a part of you that doesn't want to grow up because growing up sounds fucking boring. And my acupuncturist said to me, he's like, you don't want to grow up because the old people around you when you were young weren't inspiring. And I was like, that is so true. Like my two nans, when I was growing up, like I don't want to be like them. No way. And the cool grandpa, he died when I was 5 or 6. So yeah, there's definitely an element of like, I would never want to be or grow into what they were. And of course I won't. I absolutely won't. And so if you feel like you're rebelling in life or self-sabotaging something great, or you find like growing up boring, it may be because you didn't have like a good older role model. I mean, my dad's pretty hilarious, but he's definitely still a teenager. He's still partying like he did when he was 25. And so, yeah, there's an element of him that doesn't want to grow up either. He doesn't want to take responsibility for whatever it is. And there's nothing wrong with staying childlike, right? But if you're childlike, there's a certain innocence there, and you probably don't need drugs, alcohol, or all of the things that we do to rebel against ourselves. So as I step into the 4th day of my no substance abuse, when I took substance, by the way, I'm talking about like caffeine and nicotine mainly. Yeah, I guess I'm starting to feel more clearer. I'm getting the self-awareness that I did require. And yeah, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So if I have this cleanse and I still feel like coffee afterwards, I'm going to have coffee, by the way. It's the way that I have coffee that will be different. I'm not going to be trying to suppress anything. I'm going to be having coffee as like a ritual, morning ritual. And yeah, noticing the subtleties of when you're having something for suppression and when you're having something from a place of good intention. Because that is the self-awareness that we can have and know of when you're having something. Are you suppressing something, or you're doing it out of fear of FOMO, or why are you wanting that? Why are you wanting it? Is it because you actually truly desire it, or is it because you're doing it for other reasons? And it gets so convoluted, doesn't it? It gets so convoluted. The more we look at the self, the deeper we go, the more convoluted it gets. And it's just like, wow, it's a never ending rabbit hole. And that's why it's so exciting to learn about yourself and to self-inquire and to like really have these beautiful questions pop up and be like, oh yeah, who am I? Who do I want to be? Am I being authentic? Am I giving away my power? Yeah, so I would love to leave you with a self-inquiry about the relationships that you have in your life. Look at your intimate relationships, your relationship with your family, relationship with your friends, your peers, and your relationship to self. Ask yourself, where in your relationships do you feel the most empowered? Is there someone in your life that when you hang out with them, you just feel like $1 million, $1 billion, sorry, $1 trillion even, my goodness, living in the 18th century, where you hang out with them and you just feel on top of the world, like anything is possible. You could create anything, you could do anything you wanted. You just feel so confident and empowered in yourself that you just, you feel on top of the world. And then I would like you to reflect on relationships that you don't feel that way, and where you might be shrinking yourself to make them feel comfortable. And then the ultimate practice is getting the feeling that you've got from the people that do uplift you and encourage you, and staying in that power, staying in that frequency, and still hanging out with all of the other people that don't make you feel that way. But you stay solid in yourself, in that expression, and watch what happens. If you can truly practice that and stay in that frequency of just like being in your aliveness, watch what happens. I'm curious to know if you can do it. It's, for me, I find it quite difficult. I'm definitely mastering that at the moment. It's like, how can I stay in my power, in my purpose, in my passion, and be around whoever and stay so solid in myself that it doesn't matter who I'm hanging out with, because if they don't like it, they will run. And if they do like it, they will rise. So, on that note, I will see you next time. Stay kind. Mwah. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, like and subscribe. And if you're ready to deepen your connection with the wild, the raw, and the untamed, explore the power of Blue Lotus with Blue Lotus Effect, awakening the mind, body, and spirit. Until next time, stay wild.